In the kingdom of Vareth, stories of the shattered crown were whispered in taverns and palace halls alike. It was said that the crown once belonged to the greatest of kings, Thaneor the Unbroken, a ruler who had united the fractured lands under one banner and brought peace that had lasted centuries. But the peace did not endure forever. Upon Thaneor's death, the crown was shattered in a violent battle between his sons, and the kingdom descended into chaos and ruin. The pieces of the crown were lost, scattered to the farthest corners of the realm, and with them, Vareth's hope for unity. Generations passed, and the kingdom splintered into a patchwork of warring territories, each lord vying for power over the others. The royal city of Veldor, once the heart of the kingdom, now lay in ruin, its grand walls overgrown with ivy and moss, its streets home to beggars and thieves. No one alive had seen the crown, nor believed in the old prophecy that claimed its restoration would bring about the return of a true king. But legends have a way of resurfacing when they are needed most. It was in the village of Carsin, nestled between the mountains and the deep forests of the Valewood, that the first stirrings of this legend began anew. Erin, a young woman of 20 winters, lived there as a healer's apprentice, far removed from the political struggles of the nobles and lords. She had been orphaned as a child during one of the many battles between rival warlords, but she had little memory of her past. The village had taken her in, and Matthias, the village healer, had raised her as his own. Erin's life had been peaceful, though not easy. Carsin was a small village, its people scraping out a meager living from the harsh, rocky soil. She spent her days tending to the sick and gathering herbs in the forest, dreaming of something more. She had always felt as if she were meant for something beyond this quiet life, as if the world outside the village's borders held secrets that called to her. But the road to such dreams was closed to someone of her birth and station, or so she thought. That all changed one cold autumn morning. When a stranger arrived at the village gates, Erin was in the village square, helping Matthias with the harvest festival preparations, when the sound of hooves echoed on the cobblestone streets. She turned and saw a rider approaching, draped in a dark cloak, his face shadowed beneath a hood. He rode a large black stallion, its flanks glistening with sweat from a long journey. The villagers, wary of outsiders, gave the rider a wide berth, their whispers filling the square. Erin watched as the stranger dismounted and approached her with purposeful strides. "You are Erin, daughter of no one," the stranger said, his voice low and gravelly. It wasn't a question. Erin blinked in surprise, instinctively taking a step back. "I am? Who are you and what do you want?" The stranger pulled back his hood, revealing a man of middle age, his face lined with the marks of travel and battle. His eyes, however, were keen, and they bored into hers with unsettling intensity. "My name is Tauren, and I am here because of you." He reached into the folds of his cloak and withdrew a small object wrapped in cloth. Gently, he unfurled the fabric to reveal a jagged piece of metal, blackened and worn with age. Despite its weathered appearance, the piece shimmered faintly in the light, as if it held some ancient power within it. Erin felt a sudden pull, as though the object in his hands was drawing her in. "This," Tauren said quietly, "is a fragment of the shattered crown." Erin stared at the fragment, her mind racing. She had heard the stories of the shattered crown all her life, the tales of Thaneor's fall and the prophecy that promised the crown would one day be reforged. But to see a piece of it in front of her, She found herself struggling to breathe. "Well, what does this have to do with me?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. Torhan's eyes darkened. "You are not just a healer's apprentice, Erin. You are the last living descendant of Thaneor's bloodline." The words hit her like a blow. "That's impossible," she protested. "I was found here as a child. I have no family." "Your true family was killed during the war," Torhan explained, his voice softer now. "But you were hidden away for your protection, placed here in this village where no one would think to look for the heir to the throne. I have spent years searching for you, and now, at last, I've found you." Erin took a step back, her hands trembling. "This can't be real." "It is," Torhan said firmly. "And now, the time has come for you to reclaim your birthright." Erin's life changed that day. She could no longer remain the quiet village healer, not with the weight of such a revelation pressing down upon her. The fragment of the shattered crown pulsed with an energy that called to her, and despite her doubts, Erin knew in her heart that Torhan spoke the truth. Over the next few days, Torhan told her everything he knew. He was part of a secret order known as the Wardens, a group that had sworn to protect the line of Thaneor and ensure that the prophecy of the crown's restoration came to pass. But the task was not a simple one. The shattered crown had been broken into 5 pieces, each one hidden in a different part of the kingdom, guarded by powerful forces who wished to see the kingdom remain fractured. "If the crown is to be whole again, you must gather all of its pieces," Torhan said. "Only then can you restore the throne and unite Vareth." "But I'm just one person," Erin said, overwhelmed. "How can I possibly do this?" "You are not alone," Torhan assured her. "There are others who believe in the prophecy. Allies will come to your aid, and I will guide you. But the journey will be perilous. Many will seek to stop you, for there are those who profit from the chaos of the broken kingdom." Erin's mind was filled with doubts, but deep within her, she felt the stirrings of something she hadn't known before, a sense of purpose. Her whole life, she had felt as though she didn't belong in the quiet village, as though something greater awaited her beyond its borders. And now that something had come. She made her choice. She would leave Carson behind and seek out the pieces of the shattered crown. The first fragment had been hidden within a ruined temple deep within the Valewood, a forest so old and vast that even the bravest hunters feared to enter its depths. Erin and Torhan set out at dawn, traveling through the dense undergrowth for days. Along the way, Torhan taught her how to defend herself with a blade, how to move silently through the woods, and how to recognize the signs of magic, skills she would need for the challenges ahead. As they neared the temple, Erin could feel the presence of the crown fragment, a faint but persistent tug deep in her chest. The temple itself was a crumbling structure, overrun by vines and moss, its once grand pillars now little more than rubble. But there was a power in the air, an ancient magic that still lingered within the stones. They entered cautiously, their footsteps echoing in the silence. The fragment was hidden deep within the temple's inner sanctum, guarded by wards of protection that had been placed centuries ago. But Torhan, with his knowledge of old magic, was able to guide her through them. When they reached the sanctum, Erin saw it, another fragment of the crown, resting on a stone pedestal. It was larger than the first, its jagged edges glowing faintly with the same ethereal light. As she reached for it, the air around her grew heavy, and a deep voice echoed through the chamber. "Who dares to claim the crown of kings?" Erin froze, her hand inches from the fragment. A figure materialized from the shadows, a ghostly form, draped in tattered robes, its eyes burning with an unnatural fire. "I am Erin," she said, her voice steady despite the fear that gripped her. "Heir to the throne of Vareth." The ghostly figure studied her for a long moment before speaking again. "Only the true heir may claim this fragment. Prove your worth, or be cast into the void." Before Erin could respond, the ground beneath her feet began to tremble. The walls of the sanctum shifted, and the air grew thick with the scent of smoke and ash. From the shadows, a great beast emerged, a creature of stone and flame, its eyes glowing with malice. Erin's heart raced as the creature lunged toward her, its claws scraping against the stone floor. She barely had time to draw her blade before it was upon her. The battle was fierce. Erin fought with every ounce of strength she had, her blade flashing in the dim light as she dodged and struck. But the creature was relentless, its fiery breath scorching the air around her. It was stronger than anything she had ever faced, and for a moment she feared she would.